welcome to Closet Cosplay, the podcast where we help you create con-worthy cosplays on a closet budget. I'm Michelle.
And I'm LJ, and today we're going to share a couple of cosplays we're preparing for Mid-South Con 38. And as always, if you'd like to follow along with us, you'll find galleries and links in the show notes.
So, for our first day at con, we wanted to do Sonic and Shadow. And we wanted to do a little spin on Sonic and Shadow, and that spin is a glam Sonic and Shadow look.
Which I think you need to back up just a little bit on that as to how you came up with a glam Sonic and Shadow, because it's not exactly what most of the fandom would probably think of first.
No, it is probably not what most of the fandom would think of first, but the thing that inspired the glam Sonic and Shadow look is essentially a jumpsuit that I found in Goodwill in Nashville not too long ago. And it is a blue velvet jumpsuit.
Amazing. That
has ruffles down the front and ruffles down the back in a V shape. And it's kind of a slim-fitting jumpsuit. And it's just gorgeous. It's a child's jumpsuit, which is hilarious. But I saw it and I was like, I have to have that. So I bought it and I wore it out that night with friends, and then I thought, I want to wear this again, but it's not really, something
it's
you'd
a little
like,
bit of a unique piece.
Yeah, it's not something you'd really like wear to work or, out to lunch. So I thought to myself, I could cosplay with this. And I said, what character is blue and, with a velvet texture? What could I do with this? And, my thought was, I'll do Sonic.
Naturally.
Right, I'll do Sonic. So here's how my thought process worked. I was like, already got the blue jumpsuit. That's done. And LJ and I, not too long ago, did a think tank on our Twitch channel about what we would buy to pull off a Sonic glam look, starting with my jumpsuit, but also adding in a Shadow glam look for LJ. Yeah. And we just want to tell you guys a little bit about the items we chose and why we think they'd work for a glam Sonic and Shadow at Mid-South Con. So here we go. So I already told you guys I'm starting out with a blue velvet jumpsuit. However, on our Amazon wish list, I also chose a blue jumpsuit that has these spiky looking sleeves.
It's so cool looking. I love this jumpsuit too.
And it's got a sporty look to it, and it just kind of has a Sonic look to it. It could definitely read Sonic just from the spiky sleeve and the sporty style of it.
It's got a great silhouette. It makes it good for pictures.
Yes, I think it would work really well. So that's why I chose that. However, I will most likely be in the blue velvet jumpsuit that I already own just for savings' sake. Also, I wanted the ring idea of Sonic to, come across as far as readability is concerned, because I thought, okay, if you have any kind of like gold ring, that would read as Sonic. So the way I wanted to put that into this cosplay was a gold hoop earring. So that was my immediate thought was, I'll just get huge gold hoops. Well, when we were searching on Amazon, we found these gold hoops that are thicker than your normal gold hoop. They actually look like Sonic rings.
Yeah, they're uncannily close.
And I thought, that's perfect. That is just too good. So I have some golden hoops that actually look like Sonic's rings, which I thought would kind of add to the aesthetic. And on that same vein, I also added in a armband that has rings on the top and bottom. So they're just kind of little circular areas that kind of remind me of rings as well.
Yeah, because again, you're trying to do the readability thing. And especially because it's a glam female Sonic, accuracy kind of goes out the window at this point.
It really does. Because at this point, it's just all in my head.
Right. And you're just trying to get recognized.
Right.
So I think all of the rings really work for that.
Right. And the rings are just kind of that recognition, that immediate, definitely. Oh, I see what you're going for. And as well, I'm not planning on doing a wig for this look. I have kind of short brunette hair. And my plan was to just slick it back. Just do it nice and slicked back. Because in a lot of Sonic's pictures, his, spikes are just slicked back. So I thought I'll slick it back so you can really see that gold earring detail.
I think that'll be really cool.
Right.
And not on topic, but I actually have some blue temporary hairspray that we might just put on your hair.
We might.
Do like an ombre kind of look to it, maybe?
We might. Ooh, blue tips.
There we go. See?
Okay, see, we're popping you guys ideas like, here you go.
Just right off the something
freebies.
to consider.
Just freebies.
So you don't have to do a wig. You can seriously just do a color, especially when you're doing something like this that, again, you're just trying to read. A pop of color like that could actually make the difference.
Make it. Yeah, absolutely. And I'm planning on maybe getting a little spike, turned out end on the bottom end of it. Might make a difference. We'll see.
Yeah.
And then the next thing I thought of was, Sonic's belly, like his
little tummy.
His little tummy area. And I thought, how cool would it be to do like a big statement, like gold looped necklace? Mm-hmm. So we added one of those into the cart, and that was basically just to kind of give that illusion of his belly area, or just that different kind of color look.
It's a little it's that breakup of the blue, because he's got the breakup of the belly area, and you're still doing the gold, which harkens back to the rings and
yes, exactly.
Ties.
So it kind of ties in together. Mm-hmm. And then I had to do white gloves, guys. I mean, you can't
get away from it.
You can't do Sonic and not do white gloves. And we found a pair of white gloves. They're just white satin gloves that are below the elbow. They're not super high up the arm, and they're not super short. But my thought was that I would wear these and maybe roll them down or just scrunch them down to kind of give that illusion of Sonic's glove.
Yeah, because they have that cuff on them. So you don't want to go full on Mickey Mouse cuff, but you do kind of want to like have that subtle reference to there's a thickness and then there's a sleekness. And exactly. So that would probably work for that.
And then, of course, I mean, you got to do red. So with a glam look, I thought you got to do a stiletto, which I told you guys last episode, I'm all about comfort, and I don't know if I'm going to last a second in these heels at con. However, my plan is to find myself a nice patent red stiletto or a pump, one of the two, that I can wear at least for pictures and for the beginning of the day, and I may end up in my red pointed Rothy's by the end of the day, just for comfort's sake. So, I mean, that's pretty much my plan and idea for Sonic.
Which I think will end up really cool looking once we get it all together. We'll have to definitely check it out. And again, you have the alternative of the flats as opposed to the stilettos, which at a con all day. Probably smart.
It's probably not going to happen.
Yeah, which I actually went with stilettos on my look for Shadow as well. Now, with Shadow, he's Sonic's rival, so it's a very similar look, and since we're doing the glam still, I wanted to still kind of mirror that. So I managed to find, first thing I started looking for was a jumpsuit. And I was like, we gotta get a jumpsuit in here. And I found the most amazing jumpsuit. So Shadow, of course, is all black with these red highlights. And there is this full black jumpsuit with red racing stripes down it. It looks amazing.
It does.
It looks
pretty
really,
perfect.
really cool. Because I did want to, I considered maybe doing a dress. I'm like, nah, I got a mirror. Yeah. Because that's really what it feels like. So we've got that, which I think will not only shape really cool, but it highlights that red and black that I think is important to get that readability across. One of the other things that is really obvious with him is the red and black in his hedgehog hair. I don't even know what you want to call it. His little spikes, his hedge hair. So he's got
hedge hair.
Yeah, his hedge hair. So in his thing, he's got all black and he's got this big red streak. Which again, you don't have to be entirely accurate. We actually found a really nice wig. It's got super good reviews on Amazon, by the way. And it's black and it doesn't have a straight streak, but it's got highlights all through it. So it's a much more of a natural, of course it's unnatural looking in its own way. It's bright red with black. But again, when you're going through this, a glam take, you wouldn't have somebody on a catwalk with a big streak down their hair. They'd have highlights. Mm-hmm. So that's what I've gone. And I did I wanted it long because in his pictures, you can see they kind of go past his shoulders. So I wanted that silhouette in there for him as well. His shoes were actually interesting for me because I have a lot of ideas on how his shoes could be done. One of the things that I noticed right off the bat is he's got, these red ankle area with the gold ring. And so for me, one of the most important things that I wanted to get in there was they have these heels that have a buckle around the top ankle.
Like an ankle strap.
Yeah, like an ankle strap. And I immediately was like, that's the kind of pump I gotta find. So we did find a pair that they're red stilettos with a red ankle wrap. And one of the things that I considered, and I'm still not really 100% sure on whether I want to do it or not, is if I get like an ankle bracelet, like a gold ankle bracelet, because if you notice on him, he's also got some gold ring accents around his ankles as well.
You could almost do maybe like a bohemian type golden, one of those foot.
Oh, yeah, I know what you're talking about.
I'm not sure what they're called.
I don't know what they're called. Foot bracelets. I don't know.
Foot bracelets,
Foot
yeah.
bracelets. Well, one of the other things, another idea that I think might be interesting to do for him is if you notice on Shadow's little shoes, he has like the tip of his toes come up. And he's got these little gun things that shoot out. Which, if you could interpret that a couple ways, you could do an open toe shoe and do like some little gold toe rings would kind of be cute. But for me, the main readability that I wanted to get across was the ankle cuff. So that's what I picked for it. For right now, we've got a red pump with an ankle cuff. And then the gloves were pretty easy. White gloves, once again, same idea. We're going to be mirroring that pretty similarly. And I have, instead of a arm cuff, I went with it's a thicker, big, like, hoop around the wrists. And they kind of spiral off. So I'll have 2 of those, one around each wrist. So it'll give that mirror of what he's got on in all of his little costumes. Or his body. I don't really know what was part of him or what's not at this point.
It's fine.
Yep. And so he, like Sonic, has this breakup in his chest where instead of it's a big circle, he's got kind of this tuft of white hair. And so we want to kind of mirror that, but we wanted to glam it up, of course. So we actually found this really cool tassel collar. So it fits up around the neck, and then it's this big triangular drop down the center of the chest, and it's all of these rhinestones. So it really hits the glam look that we're going for. And he doesn't have any earrings to match, but I really think that that's going to be such a big statement piece. And with the long hair, it's all going to tie in together really, really well. But I think that both of those characters would be pretty well set up for the runway.
We are going for runway, Sonic, and Shadow, you guys. So wish us the best of luck in pulling it together. And if you would like to see our valiant attempt at Glam, Sonic, and Shadow, join us in Memphis, Tennessee for Mid-South Con 38.
It's going to be held March 20th through the 22nd, 2020 at Hilton, Memphis. And you guys, even if you can't make it, definitely check out our results. And as always, if you have a suggestion or an idea for a cosplay that you'd like to see featured in a future episode, definitely drop us a line through the suggestion form in the show notes below.
Is that everything? Are we good?
I think that's just about everything.
Bye, guys.
Goodbye.